Hey guys, what is going on? So just wanted to hop on here and show the results of the body scan that I took today and compare that to the most recent body scan that I had done a little less than a month ago and show the differences and kind of the progress that I've made. One thing to note is that I did transition from the old Ecdysterone brand that I had to the current one that I'm taking, which is Intelligent Elephant Ecdysterone. Obviously that is a significantly more potent product, and I have experienced a pretty sudden weight increase. So I figured I would go and do a scan and kind of figure out what was going on there. So I will pop up on the screen here. This is comparing August 31st to September 26th. So not quite a month, but approaching that level. And obviously I've gained a pretty significant amount of weight in this time period. And it's kind of funny because when I took this scan on the 31st of August, I had been struggling significantly to gain weight. I was kind of upping my calories consistently and I was gaining weight, but it wasn't as fast as I'd want to. I started to transition into a little bit more unhealthy food, and I definitely think I have, according to this, I've gained some fat mass for sure. But what is notable here is the lean mass increase. And this is something that I saw, like I said in my last video, with Ecdysterone, when I upped my dose from 4 caps a day to 6 while also spacing them out. That's when I noticed a very sudden increase in my weight, and some of that being lean body mass. So here, obviously, I've no doubt gained fat. I can tell on my body that I have gained fat, but this lean body mass score is obviously everything that is not fat. So it could potentially be some muscle, could potentially be water. I don't really know the ratios, obviously. I'd be willing to bet that it's not just straight contractile tissue, but I don't really know at the end of the day. And this is a very sudden jump. And like I said, this is something that I saw on Ecdysterone as well. I think with Ecdysterone, it was around a 3-pound increase that I saw really quickly. In lean body mass, this time it seems to be about 4. And last time on Ecdysterone, I really thought it was kind of like a fluke. And so I wanted to see, okay, did I actually gain some muscle? I kind of transitioned into a strength period when I saw that, and focused a little bit more on actually taking any potential size that I had gained and actually transitioning that into strength numbers. This is something that I'm tempted to do now, and I have started to kind of focus a bit more on strength training. But one thing to note is in my last bulk with Ecdysterone, I had to cut it short because I accumulated some injuries, and this was by having really high intensity in my workouts, right? Using very high weight, high frequency. I'm somebody who responds very well in terms of my strength numbers to high frequency. And up to this point, I've been doing training splits on my bulk, and therefore, I haven't been benching like every day or every other day. I've been benching like once, maybe twice a week, and that's not optimal for my strength numbers, especially considering I'm not emphasizing bench on those days. It's just one of my exercises, and in fact, I'm not even doing flat bench. And so I haven't even been doing anything like that, and therefore my strength numbers really aren't there. And I could say, hey, I want to see if I can hit a PR, but that would be not the greatest in terms of accumulating that kind of fatigue, having that high intensity, and potentially getting injured. That's something I really do not want to do. I don't want to cut another bulk short by getting injured, and therefore my primary goal is to just stay healthy. I will be ramping up my strength training portion of my lifting routine slowly but surely, and I hope to be bulking for another 3 months, maybe even more. And I definitely don't want to cut that short, like I said. And so I won't be chasing PRs anytime soon, but I will be implementing more strength training in my routine. So another thing to note, obviously this fat mass number is, pretty high. And I'm pretty aware of that. I've been eating not in the healthiest of ways. And I actually pulled, if you go back to when I kind of showed my report for the most recent scan on the 31st, I actually pulled away the Gorilla Mode AR. And so this is something, if you're not familiar with that, it's just L-carnitine, which is supposed to help with kind of growing, being a little bit leaner when you're adding size, as well as it helps on a cut to be able to burn a little bit more fat. So I was taking that because I didn't know how quickly I would store fat during this bulk, as well as, I wanted the androgen receptor, portion of that as well. Obviously, that's what it's called, Gorilla Mode AR. So I wanted to kind of reap the benefits of that, but I noticed, like I said, on my bulk, I was not gaining weight very quickly. So I pulled that. Clearly, now I'm gaining weight back. And so I'm thinking maybe I'll hop back on Gorilla Mode AR. And another thing to note is that I recently, 2 days ago, I added Camp PM, which is the Gorilla Mind PM fat burner. And this actually has naringin. So I'm just taking that once a day. But the naringin in the product is supposed to help aid in bioavailability for oral. So Vigorous Steve made a video on this. I talked about this months ago. And somebody had actually asked me in a comment, like, did naringin help you? I remember you talked about that. And I was mixing it up with, I had an experiment, not to get too, far out of, the subject, but I was doing grapefruit juice. Somebody had suggested that to me, and that didn't work, but the naringin did seem to work. And so I'm actually going to be adding, like I said, with 1 dose per day, I'm going to be adding that in the PM, obviously, to potentially aid in, increased bioavailability or just increased absorption in general for 1 of those doses. So I'm still taking 3 caps a day of the Ecdysterone. Definitely seems to be working so far. It seems like there was a significant bump up in terms of the increase in potency, but I'm adding that naringin. I started that 2 days ago on 1 of my doses at the end of the day in my evening dose. And I don't know for sure if I'm going to be adding Gorilla Mode AR because I don't actually have any. I ran out, but I might be getting more of that, and I might be adding that to the stack as well, just to grow and not accumulate so much fat throughout this bulk. But I'm not 100% on that. We'll see what happens. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I will keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.